when it comes to the dark arts, I believe in a practical approach.
A substantial number of Senate candidates around Australia have adopted that Harry Potter approach in the dark arts of Senate preferencing.
Absolutely bizarre. You've got shooters parties passing preferences onto religious parties. You could vote for a religious party and end up with a car enthusiast party.
Retiring long-time LNP Senator Ron Boswell is furious about the emergence in Queensland of a minor parties alliance, formed to exploit the vagaries of the Senate preferencing system. Political consultant Glenn Druery has brokered a deal with minor parties around the country on how to maximise preferences at the expense of major parties. It's known as vote harvesting, and Senator Boswell, who's calling for a reform of the Senate voting system, says it's made this Queensland Senate election unpredictable.
It is Russian roulette in there. I don't know what will happen. There's so many variations, so many permutations of the votes and how they flow. But one thing I do know, that people that want to end up with their vote going to the Labor Party or the Greens or the LNP, they should vote that way, not put their votes into this mix that can come out anywhere.
So are you suggesting that people avoid the minor parties altogether?
I am saying avoid it like the plague, because you don't know where your vote will go.
The veteran senator's unwilling to predict who's likely to pick up Queensland's 6 Senate seats. Collective wisdom gives 3 seats to the LNP, 2 seats to Labor and 1 to either the Qatar Australia Party or the Greens. But some believe the preference arrangements could see minor parties take 2, possibly 3 seats. Certainly, one LNP insider told RN Breakfast the party's unlikely to win 3 Queensland Senate seats.
Good morning. Can I persuade you to vote for me in the Senate on Saturday?
Greens lead Senate candidate Adam Stone is campaigning on a busy street corner in inner city Brisbane. He's also concerned about the minor parties alliance and supports reform. But the Greens are also angry about Labor's decision to preference the Qatar Australia Party ahead of them. Despite this, Adam Stone thinks there's a real chance the Greens will pick up another Senate spot in Queensland.
My crystal ball doesn't extend to being able to put a percentage on it, but I feel like I'm alive and I'm in the race. To be frank, something that's made it a bit more difficult for me is the decision of a bunch of sort of left-leaning parties to preference my rival, because the pundits tend to say that 6th Senate seat is most likely a battle between me and the Qatar Party's Senate candidate. But then, of course, now Labor, the Democrats, the Stable Population Party, the Australian Independents, they've all chosen to preference Qatar ahead of me, so they're kind of redirecting progressive votes to help get a Conservative candidate up.
The dark horse in the Queensland Senate race is a former Greens candidate who's formed her own party, the Australian Independents. Patricia Peterson joined the minor parties alliance about 2.5 months ago after being approached by the Hemp Party. She attended a series of meetings with other minor parties in Sydney, run by Glenn Druery. Patricia Peterson says the alliance is pragmatic politics.
Prima facie, it's actually a good idea for micro-parties, minor parties to work together. And I think most candidates, most parties involved in the minor party alliance are genuine about wanting to make a difference. From that point of view, it's great. However, unfortunately, I think out of a sense of political desperation, at the 11th hour, everyone was in a bit of a political prisoner's dilemma. And of course, we all knew that if anyone defaulted and broke ranks, that it would cause bedlam for other parties, and that's certainly what's happened to us.
Patricia Peterson says a number of parties reneged on their preference deals with her party at the 11th hour. A string of other good preferences means Patricia Peterson is in with a chance to take a Senate seat, even with a very low primary vote.
As low as 0.29% of the primary vote seems to get me elected in Queensland, provided Family First is under 4%. As much as 1% in Queensland, it would be virtually impossible for me not to get elected. So I'm still very hopeful.
So what does the man described as the preference whisperer, Glenn Druery, think?
There are a few options, certainly 3 LNP, 2 Labor, and that last spot will be fought over by the Greens, Qatar and Fishing and Lifestyle Party, I believe.
What are the permutations?
Oh, look, they're very interesting. 2 of the players is One Nation and Palmer. Both of these so-called right-wing groups are preferencing the Greens. Now, if we believe the polls where Palmer's polling 8%, and personally I don't think that's accurate, I think it's going to be certainly considerably less than that. But if it's anything where near 4 or 5%, then there's a real chance that Palmer and One Nation will elect the Greens in Queensland. Now, if Palmer doesn't poll well and Katter polls anything above 5%, then Katter will probably be elected. Palmer cannot get elected unless he pulls somewhere near a quota. He simply doesn't have the preference flows. Australian Fishing and Lifestyle Party, on the other hand, have some very good preference flows coming to them. And I think they could make it all the way there on as little as 2.5%, 3%.
That's election strategist Glenn Druery ending that report from Kathy Van Extel.